enjoy on KBLA Talk 1580.
I need your dollar, that's what I need.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates small businesses, the enduring lifeblood of our community, with the launch of the KBLA SMB Marketplace. For the first time, small to medium-sized businesses will have an opportunity to promote their goods and services on KBLA and take advantage of our powerful reach and local marketing power. The SMB Marketplace is hosted exclusively on KBLA1580.com and is accessible from all our social media channels. Whether you're a small mom and pop restaurant, a car dealership, or a professional practitioner, we invite you to join in this new KBLA Talk 1580 initiative to promote your business. As a Black-owned small business, you don't want to miss this unique opportunity to gain new customers on KBLA Talk 1580. For more information, contact us today at smb@kbla1580.com. That's smb@kbla1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
And if I share with you my story, would you share your dollar with me?
First things first.
Things first, it's the DU General, Money B. I'ma put you up on the schedule, 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not too unserious. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DiPrima go way back. Tag Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the movement. So we tune in. The first things first with the queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique DiPrima. Go sis.
First things first.
KBLA Talk 1580, good morning and God bless. I'm Dominique DiPrima. You know that. The show is called First Things First, you know that. And I'm pretty sure you know my very first thing is always giving thanks, giving praise, and asking for blessings from God, asking for the blessings of the ancestors and the elders, and getting this thing going. Happy Friday, TGIF. I don't know why this week felt like 2 weeks, but it did to me. I hope yours was smooth and wonderful. I know it ain't over. A lot of us work swing shifts, night shift, double shift, 2 and 3 jobs. We work on the weekends. Some of y'all retired and still working. But nevertheless, it's still Friday, and there's something lovely about that. So this is how we do the show on Fridays. The first hour, we look local. What's going on the left coast? And boy, there's a lot. Hour 2, we do Freedman Fridays, a comprehensive reparations conversation. We do it weekly. We're going to stay on top of it, do our best to stay on top of all of this movement in the reparations space and be part of making it happen in a real way. Today, we'll be talking with California State Senator Stephen Bradford, who will be joining us in the studio. He has been the architect of some of the most significant legislation to come out of the California Task Force so far. Looking forward to that conversation. Hour 3 will be joined by Congresswoman Maxine Waters. So we're kind of packing a punch this Friday. And by the way, you are welcome in. But if you got a lot to say or you're talking about something random, I suggest you call me now. Me and Ed can handle it. Well, of course, Congresswoman Waters can handle it as well. But in hour 2, we will be strictly focused on reparations, repair, the debt that is owed to Black people, Black Americans specifically. That's why we call it Freedman Friday, but we're also interested in the global picture as well. It feels like it's been a minute. He joins me every other Friday. He is the proprietor of ES Advisors, a public policy consulting firm. He's worked on many a campaign, and he's an official contributor to KBLA Talk 1580. Ed Sanders, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Dominique. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to everyone listening to us this morning.
Yeah, it's, it feels like it has been a minute. And of course, I forgot your most important title, which is Dad. Ed is a dad. It's funny because I feel like, Ed, we were talking with Priscilla Shire yesterday, and on her bio, it says her most important job is mom. And I feel like that's definitely true in my life. But I don't think I've ever seen that on a man's bio. My most important job is dad. Or that, that's necessarily elevated. Maybe it's by society or maybe it's by the men themselves. I don't know. What do you think? You're a super dad. You take your kids to school and coach teams and go to games and all that good stuff.
Yeah, that's funny. I think I actually hadn't thought about. Well, that's not true. We were talking about it this week with the vice president with Kamala Harris's pick of Tim Walz for vice president, and how he sort of puts that narrative forward and front and center, particularly for white males, that like there's a dad figure, but. That's true. You don't see men typically do that, but and we should do more of it, because I think everyone that is a father, a strong father, puts a lot of energy into that.
Yeah, and it's an important job. I mean, I think especially when it comes to Black men, the contribution and dedication of so many dads that are doing a great job just really isn't highlighted.
Yeah, you see it. You definitely see it, and you know it when you see it. But we always joke Mother's Day is like a bigger national holiday, and than Father's Day is you pass through it. But
they should both be national holidays, real ones where we get days off. But in any case, Ed Sanders, I do it every day. Commend you for your dedication and being a dad. And I think you're right. I think we see it in real life, but we don't see it so much celebrated in the media or, in the workspace and that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Great.
I mean,
by no means are any of us out here alone. It takes a lot of good people raising, families to have a community. So.
Yeah, and I feel like, folks probably don't realize when you get done talking over here, you take kids to school and, make lunches and all that good stuff. So, yay you. Maybe it's on my mind because I went, I mentioned Priscilla Shire, of course, the actress, best-selling author, was on the show yesterday. So I went to see her film screening last night. And it's a Christian film. It's called The Forge. And it's really about the role of fathers and men, even though, it deals with what happens when the father isn't present. But it really kind of got a lot of family, fatherhood, and mentorship on my mind. And it's coming out August 23rd, so in theaters only, so folks, should definitely turn out and support. It was also an affirmation of how, whether it's in parenting, where you sometimes feel like, let me speak for myself. I sometimes feel like I can't do anything right. To remember, that prayer works, to, get prayed up, to lean on God and not just constantly think that we're by ourselves.
Yeah, agreed. And I think you're never alone in your journey on parenting, right? I'm not alone. I have a spectacular wife. My wife, Effie, is, a phenomenal mother, and our love and partnership in raising the children, is the strength. And whether married, not married, no one is raising a child or should not be raising a child by themselves. It does take a community. And so, you look to grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins and friends of the family to help raise your children.
Yes, indeed. A village, as they say. So you mentioned Kamala. I mean, I know we got a lot of things to talk about locally, but you mentioned Kamala Harris. I think she was not elevated to the top of the ticket last time we spoke, and certainly we didn't have Tim Walz, Governor Walz, who's her running mate, How are you feeling about this ticket? I mean, I'm asking you not as someone who knows, Vice President Harris, but as a campaign consultant. Ed Sanders, the man who's worked on many a campaign and in many a political office.
Oh, I thought she made a really strong pick, and I thought she made really the pick only one available to her, and Tim Walz is, I think, a perfect fit for her campaign at this point. And I think the results are there. You can see the energy, the reactions to him. You can see his presence on stage. He gives this ticket energy, but I think he signals a lot to the country. One, he's out of the blue wall there in the Midwest, but he's about as Midwestern a guy as you can get, right? The guy's coached football. He serves in the reserves. He's represented, his community in Congress, and he's been a teacher. There's so many different things that he's done, to the point of, fatherhood. I've even seen a little video of he and his daughter at a fair and riding roller coasters.
I saw that too, where she said she was a vegetarian, and he said turkey is vegetarian.
Right.
In Minnesota, it's special. She was like, "Yeah, eye roll."
So he's got this great, personality, sense of humor. He's not a well-known name, right? But I think as people start to get to know him, you're going to like him, and I think that generally is going to help the ticket. As opposed to J.D. Vance, who, I haven't seen, his personal side. I know his story, and I think he's got a compelling story. But, so far he's had these little quirks where I just don't like him personally, and maybe that's just because of who he is. But I do like Tim Walz so far.
I don't like you because of who you are.
Right. But in general, she did not hurt herself, and that's the main thing you try to do. And I thought with some of the other candidates, she could have hurt herself. Cooper out of North Carolina, he was the AG that dropped the charges against the Duke lacrosse team when they had the issue with the dancer.
Yeah, wow.
And that would have been a horrible look for her. And Shapiro, it was interesting to see him on stage. I hadn't seen him speak. I think he's got a lot of energy on stage, but he naturally invites the conversation about Israel and Gaza. And, if there's any one thing that can derail the momentum of her campaign in these last 90 days, it's that issue. It has the ability to be very divisive for this campaign. And when people mentioned Shapiro, I didn't think he actually stood a chance of becoming the nominee.
Really?
And so, yeah, I thought the New York media liked him, right? I think he shines in New York media, and you get his pump out of that. But I could not picture him coming into the convention necessarily with that issue hanging out there.
Do you think he sounds like? Do you think he sounds like Obama? That's what they were saying. And I feel like it's funny that one of the big talking points right now from the right is that Kamala Harris should have picked Shapiro, which to me means they had a playbook ready to take him down, and they're disappointed that they don't get to use it, just like they're disappointed that they don't get to use the Biden playbook right now.
I think they're being creative. I think, whoever she picked, they'd have said, "Oh, she's," you know what I mean? They'd have gone the opposite way. I mean, I think they're trying to be, it's a story. It's a news cycle story. If you can get something out there to hurt somebody for 6 hours on the news cycle, they'll do it. But
I got you.
In the end game, it's a good pick. I think it keeps the momentum. You could feel the momentum, see the momentum on the Democratic side. People are still excited about it. I know they're on their what is it, a 7-state tour of the the close races and the close states. And so far, they're being received very well, and I think it'll continue to. They'll just continue to build momentum into the convention.
Later today, actually in the 7 o'clock hour, Senator Stephen Bradford will be on for Freedman Friday. He's running for lieutenant governor. When we come forward, Ed, I'd like to get your thoughts on that. There's a lot more to talk about, so much going on, both locally and national things that impact that have local impact, i.e. we've got a Californian at the top of the ticket. So much to discuss on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward. Tavis is like George and Wheezy. He's moving on up. Last year, Tavis was number 45 on the Talkers Magazine list of the 100 most important radio talk show hosts in America. Wait for it. Wait for it. The 2024 list was recently released, and Tavis has jumped to number 33 on the list of the nation's most important talkers, making him the highest-ranked African-American on the coveted roster. Congratulations to Tavis Smiley from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580. We've got you black.
Attention, if you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance. And you better watch out, because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They are experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. They have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and will fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Grainger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
Right now, we're back to Dominique DiPrima and Ed Sanders. But, Ed, let's go to Jeanette calling us from Inglewood and welcome her in on this beautiful Friday. Good morning, Jeanette.
Good morning, Dominique. Thank you so much for taking my call. And you know what? I really wanted to get in before the reparations part of it because I want to say something about that real quick. So there are people who make the scriptures say what they want to, so I'm going to do the same today. So in Proverbs 13:22, it says, "A good man leaveth an inheritance to his children's children, and the wealth of the sinner is laid up for the just." So our ancestors, they were good people, and we are in the process of receiving our wealth through reparations. And I just want to say to Steve Bradford and everybody else that's working on getting our reparations, just thank you so much. That's all.
Oh, that was nice. And it's a perfect segue, Jeanette, into what I was going to ask Ed, which is, we know Steve in Bradford is termed out. He's been a huge ally when it comes to reparations. And of course, we've got a couple people that are in a runoff for that seat. We can talk about that. But I wonder what your thoughts are on Stephen Bradford's run for lieutenant governor.
Oh, I love it. I'm going to support Steve all the way there. Look, I've known Steve for a number of years, and each cycle I look at his legislative accomplishments, and I'm always surprised by one or two or three bills that he's introduced and are working on, and sort of the thoughtfulness of them, and really the impact of them. And when you look at his body of work, he's touching a lot of different issues. It's funny, as you mentioned it, I went back to his site and, a couple things. As part of the reparations package, there was a bill that he introduced to limit the number of overdraft fees a credit union could charge somebody in a given month to 3, and then give you a 5-day leeway before that fee is charged. And Dominique, I don't know if you knew, but I once worked in retail banking in South Los Angeles for a major bank. And, I was shocked once I became the branch manager and can see the profit lines at the branch at how much money that bank was making off of overdraft fees.
Wow.
And, when you think about it, there are so many in the community, and you can sort of draw a map over Southern California of let's just call it the CRA areas, right? And there's so many people that are coming in that, are dealing with overdrafts. And those overdraft fees are expensive, right? At the time it was like $30 an instance. And so you look up and, somebody's check they were being charged, $120, $180 off of, a couple. They wrote off their bills for the month and miscalculated, and all of a sudden they were getting charged $180 that they didn't have. To me it was gouging, and I thought it was the wrong way to do business. And so you see a thoughtful bill like what Bradford has proposed, and to get back to him, that's not something that makes it into the media, and we talk about it a lot, but it's a really thoughtful, impactful bill. And so as Steve makes his run for lieutenant governor, as people, make their choices, take a moment and look at just last year's bills that he put forward, and understand that as thoughtful as those bills are, if they all pass, the impact would be incredibly great for our community.
Yeah, I mean, the reparations is a perfect example of that. But just like the governor looks to be a crowded field, I imagine lieutenant governor will be as well. I actually haven't looked to see who else is running for that position, because I was like, I already know I'm going to support. Oh, actually, that's not true. Michael Tubbs is running, the former mayor of Stockton, who's another progressive black person. But, to me, I'm rolling with Bradford just because not only his legislative accomplishments in general, but specifically his boldness on reparations.
Yeah, agreed. And boldness across the board, but certainly boldness on reparations and being able to speak forcefully for our community. I think, in general, he's going to have more experience than probably some of the other. And I, like you, I think it may be early, and I don't know who all will be, completely on that ballot, but I think he will have the experience that others might lack in that regard. And we'll see what happens. Obviously, you got to get around the whole state and introduce yourself, out of Los Angeles to people in Northern California, down in San Diego, and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, well, what do you attribute that boldness to? Actually, I mean, it sounds like a simple question, but it's kind of not, because if you look at how many politicians, even if you listen to Cori Bush's speech, right, she was primaried because of her stance on Palestine, and then she says, well, now the restraints are off, and I assume that means, I've never held public office, elected office, but I assume that means you don't have to worry about what the donors are going to think, what the press is going to say. how you could be eviscerated by other lawmakers when they try to take your spot. So is that why so many, other than two that we're having on today, Congresswoman Maxine Waters and Senator Bradford are two of the more bold lawmakers that I have spoken with over the years. And many, like you look at Vice President Harris. Some people criticize her. They want her to go, free Palestine. Well, okay, but she'll never be elected if she does that. Or they're mad at her for saying America was a racist country. But to me, that is not a racist country. But to me, that was like a hostage video. It's like where say it. Say something that we can destroy you with forever so you can never, ever win any office again. So why do you think certain people like Senator Bradford and Congresswoman Waters are able to kind of break out of that paradigm?
I think one is, to your point, I think boldness is just a character trait, right? Standing with confidence and, and stand up and speak is a character trait. And so, when you talk about, Congresswoman Waters, when you talk about Senator Bradford and others we know, they have that trait. That's the character, and that's why we love them. They will stand for our community. But I also don't think that's just the only answer to that question. I'm thinking about it this way. If you represented a district that had diversity of thought, and a lot of it, like differing opinions, sometimes you're just gathering the thought from everyone, right? And so you can't be as bold on an issue.
Yeah, so you're giving all of them the benefit of the doubt, Ed. Is that what you're doing? The 10th is a perfect example of that, right? The 10th Los Angeles City Council District. Everybody's in there.
Some of everyone is in there, and to be clear and fair, I once worked in the 10th district, and so I'm probably a consensus builder at heart, and when you make bold statements, you're really talking to one constituency, and I think from a character trait, when you see something wrong or something really passionate, yeah, you go for it, but I think you always see people do that on issues that may not be so high energy or such a high engagement. You're really still trying to build consensus. And so I think you're speaking to the point, but, at some point, like as you say with me, I'm bringing in a diverse opinion to that. And that doesn't, I'm not being
you know what you sound like right now? You sound like a politician, Ed. I think you should run for office. All right. You're not being bold. We got news, traffic, and sports more, and then we'll be back with the bold version of Ed Sanders on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Ree Harris, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Kamala Harris is the first black woman to lead a major national ticket and running mate. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz continued to hold large rallies on their campaign tour of several battleground states this week. Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance, who is also on the campaign trail, has been telling rally-goers that if elected, he and former President Donald Trump will deport all of those who are in the United States illegally. The price to watch your favorite shows and movies continues to rise. Streaming prices for Hulu, Disney Plus, and ESPN Plus are going up. This as it looks to push consumers to sign up for bundles. And that's the latest. I'm Ree Harris on your home for 24/7 news, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. I started Blindster in 2010 in my garage after I overpaid for new blinds. I researched the industry, hired my mom, and 14 years later, we're one of the largest retailers of custom blinds in the U.S. Don't pay too much for new blinds. Go to Blindster.com.
Is this the This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The U.S. men's 4x400 meter relay team advanced to Saturday's finals in the Summer Olympics. That means most of the world will get a chance to see the youngest member of the U.S. track and field team in Olympics history. 16-year-old Quincy Wilson of Chesapeake, Virginia is still in high school, but he was good enough to make the U.S. Olympic team. Wilson is in the leadoff spot on the relay team. The 4x400 relay is scheduled for noon Saturday on NBC and the USA Network. The Chargers and Rams play their NFL preseason openers this weekend. The Chargers, with new head coach Jim Harbaugh, play Seattle on Saturday at SoFi Stadium, 4 p.m. kickoff. The Rams play the Dallas Cowboys Sunday at SoFi, kickoff at 1:30. The Angels took 2 out of 3 from the Yankees in New York. They're in Washington tonight to start a 3-game series against the Nationals. The Dodgers lead in the NL West had dropped to 2.5 games over San Diego. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Finding a path to a meaningful career, one where you're making an impact and making enough money, it can be tough. There's one path, though, that many young adults are landing on that leads them to careers where they can work outdoors, protect our environment, take on climate change, and get paid while they train. It's the California Conservation Corps. You just have to be 18 through 25 years old to enroll, or a U.S. military veteran through age 29, and you have to be a California resident. That's it. There's no education requirement, no employment history needed. Some Corps members need to finish up high school. Others are college grads. But during their 1 year of service, all CCC Corps members can earn the work experience and certifications needed to become a wildland firefighter, forestry technician, install solar, or build trails in our state parks. Learn how you can enroll at ccc.ca.gov. Do this for you. Become the person you want to be through the California Conservation Corps. Join Black Women for Wellness 25th Annual Reproductive Justice Conference on August 15th at the California Endowment Center. Unite to protect Black women's rights and become an advocate for change. Tickets on sale now at bwwla.org. That's bwwla.org.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text LION to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text LION to 42424. That's LION to 42424.
What's up? I'm Miles.
Hey, and I'm Jara.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Maple Pepper Bacon Sandwich is how the flavors come together. First, I taste the smoky grilled chicken, then the pepper bacon with that maple bun, added with the sweet heat and the pickles.
I'm really sold on the pickle. It meets you in the middle with the sweetness and the heat.
It's spice-tastic.
Yum-licious.
Flavoristic.
The sandwich of the summer. The Maple Pepper Bacon Sandwich.
Order the Maple Pepper Bacon Sandwich on the Chick-fil-A app today. Available for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Sometimes we lose, sometimes we win. Sometimes we try to fit it all in. Sometimes we don't know what's in store. Sometimes we find what we're looking for. Sometimes we're rolling easy and free. Sometimes 1 and 1 makes 3. So much to love along this ride. That's why Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Mutual Insurance Company and Affiliates, Columbus, Ohio.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yes, indeed. I do thank you. I never take you for granted. I appreciate your being here with us on this beautiful Freedman Friday. Ed Sanders is with me. Ed, you're a sports guy. I know that. You're a soccer dad, football dad. I don't know what else. What other sports you guys got going on
Basketball dad.
Oh, of course, a basketball dad. How could I forget that?
A volleyball uncle and a tennis uncle.
And I mean, and you guys are tall, right? You're what, 6'4"?
I'm 6'5", yep.
6'5", yep. Yeah. So you definitely got some basketball kids in the family. So what are you tracking at the Olympics? I feel like I'm missing all the stuff I wanted to see. I felt so sad for the sprinter Noah Lyles. Turns out he has COVID. Training your whole life for this golden moment, and then you get the Rona. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and it's funny. I don't know how many athletes would actually say that out loud, but, you know, like I can only imagine I don't know how many people I've seen. I remember the Olympian on the women's gymnastics team wasn't feeling well as well, and I thought, wow, she might have COVID, and then COVID is probably running through the Olympic Village.
Oh my God, I hadn't even thought about that. Look, I mean, this guy ran a race with COVID. He ran a race, got the bronze medal, and then they took him off in a wheelchair.
Yeah,
That's
I
crazy.
didn't get that, but
I mean, that's worst case scenario, and he's out for the rest of the game. So anyway, what are you tracking?
I'm tracking everything. I look at it as 2 weeks. The first week is I'm looking at gymnastics. I'm looking at swimming. I'm loving all the soccer matches, the basketball, and you get into the second week and track and field comes to the forefront. And I love the Olympics because, this time of year you just get to see all of the African diaspora on display, Sha'Carri may not win the 100, but a sister from St. Lucia does, and
she got the silver. Why is everybody acting like that's a failure? She's a silver medalist.
Agreed. I think we have a win, a gold medal is what we count here in the United States, and we will always have that, right? But I would have been happy for Sha'Carri, but I'm equally happy when I see someone from a Caribbean or African country win. I really am.
Okay, well, I'm not as international as you. I mean, I was glad she won, but
if a sister's running against a sister, great.
I still want my USA.
Right.
I still take the Black American over everybody. Okay, I'm sorry. Yes. Now, if you have a Black Caribbean against a white American, well, anyway, that's a whole different conversation. But to your point, I was laughing. I love track and field. I love boxing. And I love actually basketball when I get to watch it. I was laughing because no matter what country, could be Sweden, the United States, Germany, pretty much all the women running track and field were Black women. And representing Sweden, our first medalist, she's Black. Like, I love that.
Yeah. Well, you get to see it, and the real funny part is it's not funny, but it's you see the African slave trade on full display.
Yeah,
right?
That's true. The diaspora.
France's teams, France is pulling all of its talent out of Africa, and
then they got the nerve to complain about migrants coming from the motherland.
Right.
Ooh,
all while dealing with it politically back at home. It's wild.
I mean, they're literally rioting in UK because they hate immigrants and trying to burn down these immigrant shelters. And when you talk about Europe, immigrant means Black most of the time. It could mean Arab, but most of the time it means African. So meanwhile, whatever you're winning, most of what you're winning at the Olympics comes from the very same people.
Right. Exactly. And couldn't get them to admit it publicly, but we see it, right?
Yeah.
And so it's hard to not watch the Olympics with political context. It really is, because countries square off against each other, and you look and you're like, oh wow, look at that. France is playing Haiti.
Yeah. Wait, where's their reparations?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's true. So what's your highlights so far?
Wow, good question. I thought the women's national soccer win the other day against Germany was spectacular. Sophia Smith with that goal. They go for gold, I think, tomorrow morning. I thought the U.S. men's basketball team beating Serbia, coming back from down 12 in the fourth quarter, was. Were
you worried they were going to lose?
That last night.
Miles, did you guys think they might lose, you and Ed?
I did. At the third quarter, I thought Serbia had them. They didn't look like they can catch them.
Yeah, it was a little hard skip a beat or two. I mean, it was we have the talent. We shouldn't lose. So, I mean, there's always the thought of us coming back and winning for sure. But to be on the ropes like that, and it's one game. It's not a series. It's one game. A team can get hot, and they got hot. We played a little lazy defense. But Steph Curry, LeBron James, KD.
I mean, to me, not that I'm a basketball expert, but you really don't want to lose with that lineup.
You can't lose.
You don't want to lose with that lineup.
Sustain.
Yeah, but I thought they would. Honestly, when they first named those guys, I was like, wow, those guys are taking a big risk, at this juncture in their careers. Miles, to your point, playing defense at a high intensity is what you need to win. And I was like, I don't know,
You saying because they're older? Are you saying because they're
older?
older guys? Is that your point?
Yeah, you have to chase some of these young guys from around that shooting threes all over the place. I thought they had the potential to get beat because of that. But the opposite is what proved true in the game yesterday. You saw their greatness on display. Each one of them down the stretch was amazing. Steph, the key.
The thing is, too, also, I think to go against what you're saying, though, Ed, I don't think they win that game if they didn't have the old guys with experience on their team. I don't think you see yesterday people like Jason Tatum, who was, has the biggest contract in the league right now, didn't even play yesterday.
You're echoing what Paul Lee is saying in the YouTube chat. He also says Steve Kerr out there overcoaching.
I mean, and you can say that, sure, but we got the win. The old guys got it done. I don't think that the
old guys.
Dang,
you guys. What happened to veterans?
The vets.
Experienced players. Now they got to be old guys.
He's the oldest player in the league, Dominique. LeBron is.
Yeah.
And like KD is like next.
He has a gray beard, Dominique.
Yeah, I did note that.
Boys.
I did note that.
Yeah.
And then what about the women's basketball?
Oh.
They're just rolling. I mean, that team is loaded with talent, and they're on the women's side of the game. There is not a team that can come close to them. When Brittany Griner's coming off the bench, you got problems because Asia Wilson is spectacular.
So there's one. They're in the final, right? Do we know when that is? After Nigeria got to the semifinal, first time ever for an African team, and then just got smoked, right?
Yeah, but I mean, okay, so we were talking on sort of the Pan-African side. I love watching Nigeria's Olympic team compete, right? You're seeing Nigerians.
Yeah, as long as they don't beat us. Sorry.
It's just good to see. It's not like it. Years ago, you didn't see the African countries challenging,
True.
Right? And the investment in their athletics is been taking place. You can see it. Particularly Nigeria out of, off the continent, you see their stars, right? Like in basketball, they could pull Giannis Antetokounmpo back, and Embiid, frankly, could have played for the Cameroon, and you could have changed the whole conversation with that. So you watch Nigeria. I was watching the shot put or something like that, and there's a Nigerian that was in contention to medal there, and
yeah, I mean,
it's just great.
And having traveled in Africa, I will say that those folks are training without the same resources that these European and U.S. teams have. There's just no way. They're probably, training with zero equipment and none of the kind of technical advantages. So there's definitely an underdog. I didn't realize that, according to the New York Times, every woman on the U.S. team has at least one gold medal. That's crazy.
On the U.S. track team?
No, U.S. basketball.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was part of the conversation about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Like, yeah, they would have been good for the sport. Who do you knock off? You're knocking off an Olympian. You're knocking off somebody with a resume already.
59th consecutive win for the women's national basketball team on Wednesday. That's amazing. When is that game? I'm going to try to find out. I never know when anything
Probably
is.
Tomorrow. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
That's what I hate about the
Olympics. I usually catch it all on replay, when they do the encore stuff.
I mean, it's okay, so I don't even know how to find that. I never can find it. But here's the thing. I love the Olympics too, Ed, and there are people in Miles, and there are people who think, there's a No Olympics organization. There's people that boycott it. They think it, that it's another reason to oppress the homeless and the poor, that it's a waste of money. There's all kinds of reasons. I personally love the Olympics. I have since I was a little kid. I'm looking forward to having it in LA, but you're a conscious, progressive, bold brother, Ed. What do you say to those folks that are, on the No Olympics bandwagon?
Yeah, I don't understand them. Part of it is just our American story, right? Athletics plays a role in our lives, and I think there's people that shrug at that, and honestly, I don't understand them. I don't really, agree or want to agree with their. Olympics has always played a big role in my life, like in athletics as well, right?
It inspires me. I go watch those people, and then I go lift my little weights. I go run.
Yeah, but even as kids, we teach our kids to play. We want our kids to play sports, the competition, all of that. That's part of it.
And to me, the internationalism too. It's when else are little kids going to see someone from Serbia and someone from Nigeria and Kazakhstan and all these places? It's part of understanding like how big the world is and how many different cultures and political configurations. And this might be an unpopular opinion, but I don't agree with using the Olympics as a political tool in the sense that I think Russia should be included. It's not those athletes have trained their whole life. It's not their fault that doggone Putin decided to invade the Ukraine, and now you're punishing those athletes. And I feel like if we're going to keep out Ukraine, then we have to keep out Israel, and you're going to, if it's about because you're starting a war, then we're going to have to keep out a whole bunch of people. And then it turns into we're never going to have Olympics. I'm not some big Russian stan or Russian fan, but look, I think all the athletes deserve to be on the field. They worked for it, and they need to have their moment.
Yeah, I agree. To me, the Olympics should transcend that, right? Like, okay, Russia and Ukraine are in a battle. That one of the two sides is in, it doesn't make sense to me. I get it. Look, Hitler hosted the Olympics in 36,
right.
Right. You know what I mean? So
perhaps you don't want to let a war aggressor host the Olympics.
Unless you could show him up with
Jesse Owens.
Him up with a Jesse Owens.
Right. But still, okay, that's different. That's the politics of. That's the kind of thing I would expect the Olympic Committee to weigh in on. No, you don't get to use this as a big advertisement for fascism, right? But punishing athletes. And I know that glory goes to their country, but still, I don't agree with that at all. I think those Russian athletes should be on the field along with the Israelis, along with the Palestinians, and everybody. And then y'all work that political stuff out, hopefully in your elections, and sadly, many times on the battlefield.
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely agreed. We'll say it and we keep saying it, but the Olympics is something special. And, even when it comes to Los Angeles, I'm excited about it coming.
2028, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I think, I remember in 84, the buzz around the town, the collecting of the medals. I know one thing's for sure. I am setting my sights on Snoop's 2028 Olympic pin, and I'm already like, okay, that's what I want. I got to find a way to get to Snoop and get one of those pins, because Snoop is master at these Olympics, and it's right.
So hold that thought, Ed. I want to know why you think everyone's on this Snoop bandwagon with the Olympics right now. We'll talk about that, and there's so much more when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
Oh, man. Looks like Bobby needs a ride to the airport again.
Grab the keys.
Who's taking Auntie and her friends to the swap meet?
Grab the keys.
How about we drop these boxes off at Miss Johnson?
Grab the keys.
Whether you're giving rides or hauling gear, you're all about getting things done.
So do it all in a Chevy SUV. From the versatile Equinox and sporty Blazer to the roomy Traverse, our lineup of SUVs will carry you through every adventure. All you have to do is
grab the keys.
That's how we do. Head to your local Chevy dealer, where well-qualified buyers get 1.9% financing on all 2024 Malibu, Colorado, Blazer, Equinox, Trailblazer, and Traverse limited models. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
1.9% APR for 36 months. Monthly payment is $28.60 for every $1,000 you finance. Example down payment 15.8%. Must finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 7/1/24.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
Hello, KBLA listeners. This is Senator Steve Bradford, and I'm inviting you to the 21st Annual Gardena Jazz Festival, Sunday, August 25th at Raleigh Park. And this year's lineup will be amazing, opening up with Fernando Pullum Youth Orchestra. The Inner City Youth Orchestra Jazz Ensemble under the direction of Chuck Dickerson will be cooking with biscuits and gravy. The amazing saxophonist Mindy A. Bear, 8-time Grammy Award-winning a cappella group Take 6, the always soulful Mesa, and the grown and sexy Will Downey Jr. You won't want to miss it. Tickets are on sale. General admission is $30. Box seating is $75. And unfortunately, our reserved seating is all sold out. So for ticket information, you want to go to GardenaJazzFestival.com/tickets. That's GardenaJazzFestival.com/tickets, or call 310-217-9537. Look forward to seeing you for a day of fun, music, and family on August 25th for the 21st Annual Gardena Jazz Festival. And remember, well, alcohol-free, smoke-free environment. See you soon.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today. Are you tired of being stuck without internet access? Connect and go with LA County Library. It's simple. Visit your local LA County Library location and borrow a hotspot for free to get Wi-Fi wherever you are.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
You got a big mouth. Hello, Joe, you're up. Welcome.
We're unapologetically progressive, and we don't black down.
And we definitely don't, neither do you. We always invite you in, though, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. So, Ed Sanders, I wasn't, around on that level. I wasn't on that level at in 84. I've never been to an Olympics. How do you get the pins? How does that even work?
It's just sort of a fan thing. Like, they're each event is selling them. You can go to the events. You'll find it's just sort of a collector's thing around. Some of them are rare, right? You got to find I don't know how many of Snoop's pins are running around in Paris, but each event I remember here had a pin, and you would just sort of go around and collect them and whatnot. I probably still have them running around somewhere in a box, but.
Okay, so you go to the event or you go to the individual and you purchase that pin, and then it becomes a collector's item. I know it's a big thing. I've read about it. I just have never participated. So then why is Snoop the master of these Olympics? I mean, because I've seen articles in everywhere, even super mainstream publications, just calling him the sweetheart of the Olympics. I love hearing him commentate. I think it's funny, but I really haven't observed enough of his Olympic stuff to understand why he's taken the world by storm with this.
I mean, first off, he's funny. I think he comes at it with as any of us would. I've never seen Olympic dressage or whatever the horse skipping thing is, and his commentary on it's just funny, right? A crip walking horse is a hilarious thing, but I think bigger than anything is social media and Snoop's personality with everybody, right? Like, he's also hit this point in his career where he's so well known, so beloved by all the athletes that he's the guy that everyone gravitates towards. I mean, I can't wait for it to get here. Can you imagine opening ceremony? Let's put Dre, Snoop, Kendrick, Mustard on the beat at the opening ceremony. It'd be crazy.
Or like Ken and Friends, the Olympic version.
Exactly.
So, Ed, what about the World Cup? I know we only have a couple minutes, but you're a soccer guy, and the World Cup is coming before the Olympics. That's 2026.
Yeah. And it's part of the lineup that you see the LA sports entities moving towards, right? There's just these big showcases for the city of Los Angeles. When Karen Bass was elected, it was one of the optimistic things that, she is going to, set this city on a path towards, being able to host these big world events. Because Los Angeles is, I always thought Los Angeles is the best city in the world, and you get to showcase it, and we'll be ready for it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I do like soccer, and that is one area where you really do see a lot of black folks from around the world, and I celebrate that. I enjoy that.
Yeah, on a whole nother show, I'll give you my thoughts on soccer with, as a growing sport here in the States. I mean, both for African Americans, but really for African American girls. I'll spend a whole hour talking about that if you let me. But
yeah, definitely, that's a show we definitely should do. It's just so much more popular with black people in every other country except the U.S. I'm talking about on the pro level, of course.
Yeah, the sport in general. I mean, for us, it's never been, more than football, more than basketball, more than baseball, but everywhere else, it's the number one sport. And so you get around the world, you learn soccer a little bit.
Ed Sanders, it's always good to talk to you. Remind us how to find you online or in the world.
Well, I'm out here. Let me take a quick point to wish my dad happy birthday. We're watching Olympics. We're enjoying it. So I'm wishing him a happy birthday. But thank you for having me on today.
Happy birthday to your dad, who is an icon, an LA icon in his own right.
He is. He's at home. I don't know if he's up yet, but we're gonna have a good time this afternoon.
Absolutely. Happy birthday, Mr. Sanders. And it's time for Freedman Friday. Thank you, Ed. Senator Stephen Bradford is in the studio next on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Ree Harris, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Kamala Harris is the first black woman to lead a major national ticket and running mate. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz continued to hold large rallies on their campaign tour of several battleground states this week. Republican Vice Presidential nominee J.D. Vance, who is also on the campaign trail, has